Yeah, good evening, friends. In the interest of time, let us start. Hope you can hear me. Can someone confirm?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and good evening, Ronak. Yeah, it would be great, to share your insights as well here. So let's actually start. I will share my screen. Uh, if you remember, almost 3 weeks back, we had mm, shared a case. Let me share my screen. Allow me a moment.
The screen is not visible.
Yeah, I'm sharing. I'm sharing. Just hold on. Hope it's visible now.
Yes, yes, yes.
But one
What?
second. Allow me a moment. Yeah. Yeah. So I guess you can see my screen, right?
Yes, yes. Now it's visible. Perfect.
Yeah. Okay. So if you remember, we had given this case of Dermagen Pharma India Limited with their product Epidermix, which is like a novel biologic for for moderate to severe atopic dermatitis. And then your role is like a medical affairs manager, and right now, the task was more like actually, to create a cross-functional stakeholder engagement strategy that generates actionable insights, builds authentic advocacy, and demonstrates holistic value for the product. And considering the key challenges, which included market saturation, diverse influences, evidence gaps, and internal silos. Okay. So, with this background, I also had asked you to address, when you prepare a project plan, to address the identification challenges, how do you systematically identify all the stakeholders, whom you will consider as the right stakeholders to be engaged. Then we wanted a more of a meaningful interaction than just like a one-way transactional communication from your side. And we also talked about like the integration challenge, people working in silos within the organization, and you want to have a unified strategy, as one team. And we also highlighted then how will we define and measure success of this project. Okay, now I'm just stopping sharing temporarily, if any of you want to volunteer. I know, I'm overwhelmed by the response. Many of you have got it right, and I would say almost 90% of you have submitted very detailed responses. And I'm also happy to know some of you have taken help of advanced technologies, uh, some of the generative AI tools, also to to have additional inputs into the answers. So if any of you want to present what you had thought of, then we will allow you a time to present that. Else, after that, I will present a brief summary, how it should have been. And this would be the first part of today's session. And in the second session, I will take a brief session on insights, it's very very important when we consider our role into medical affairs. Yeah, any volunteers, please? Don't be scared. As I mentioned, your answers what you had submitted were pretty good.
So it could be like a live demo also. Like, so basically, it's a good learning experience for everyone. The one who wants to present, um, please go ahead. Uh, we'll wait for maybe 30 seconds in case someone is volunteering. Okay, I think Dr.
Yeah,
Hassan, yeah,
yeah,
and feel free to in between. You can anyone wants to add something, but Dr. Hassan, yeah, please.
sure.
Start. We can start.
So let me share my screen again. Yeah. See, the first one, which was pertaining to the case, which I wanted, like, your input was like, whom all you will consider, like, actually as right stakeholders to be engaged. So, for that, like, the main question was, like, mm, like, how will you identify all these stakeholders? So the most important aspect, like, before, like, going to the stakeholders, it's also so important to map our stakeholders. And if you remember, like, in my previous sessions, I have also explained you, like, the key opinion leaders could be different people, like they would be coming from diverse background, including, like, academics. Some would be, like, having more influence, uh, like, with the government and procurement systems. Like someone would be, like, leaders in the digital universe. So we discuss this, and then sometimes, like, having patient advocacy leaders can also influence. So with this in mind, you should ideally, like, map the key opinion leaders based on the, like, sphere of influence. And then, like, you should also try to map their sentiments and interests. That will help you, like, really to support the epidermics brand, like, and, like, to decide, like, on further engagement strategies. Also, it would be very important, like, to have, like, cross functional workshop. See, this is also, like, a subsequent question, like how you will have an alignment with the internal team. So you can initiate cross functional workshop to align on these KOL mappings. So that will help you, like, to have an agreement, as well as, like, differentiate your engagement strategies with the stakeholders. For example, marketing has a plan to engage certain number of stakeholders. Then, like, already these people are engaged. You could very well utilize your efforts, like, with uh, the, like, identified group of experts, other than, like, who are already getting engaged from a different standpoint. Dr. Ronak, you want to add something here?
Uh, no, so I think if we have any example of AI powered uh, influencer mapping tool or something, if in medical we have anything.
So right now, like, we have multiple tools which you can get, like, these details. For example, Sightline is one among them, which will actually, primarily pull out uh, their engagements from a clinical development point. Then there is, like, something, like, which is free, which is called Expertscape, which is again, like, try to summarize based on their publications, like, any affiliated speaker programs, etc. So there are many, and but many of them remains paid. but by and large, if you consider like from an Indian setting, still there needs lot of improvement and validation, because many of them primarily rely on, like, the number of publications as a
Okay.
criteria.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. I think that scope also how to do the mapping and tools development. Okay. Mm.
So again, we discussed like what should be the nature of these engagements. Many a times, what happen means, whenever you have this opportunity to engagement, it often becomes like something very transactional. Like you want say, suppose, like, actually, you have number of speaker programs planned. You just like the commercial or marketing team sometimes actually, just consider this as an opportunity only, as a means to pay a fee for service or honorarium to the doctors who are being engaged, and they don't critically like value these engagements. But if you really see from a medical affairs perspective, this is a golden opportunity when you get to engage people. So even like based on the people whom I consider important to be engaged, from the previous slide, if you see, you need to customize it accordingly. For example, for an academic KOL, so he values like science, like his importance like, into various like advisory boards, etc. His participation into advisory boards. So here the tactic would be like maybe for the product you need to think of establishing a scientific steering committee, for example, for a post-marketing surveillance study. So grant him like actually, author co-authorship into the program, like actually, take his input into the study designs. So that will make him feel like actually, as a partner, rather than like actually, one of your customer, like whom you are just meeting to increase your prescriptions. So that's how, like actually, you should think of, especially when, like, that's why I told you need to map his sentiments as well. Like you need to understand where his or her interest lies. Now coming to the larger community dermatologists, so there, like actually, you may not like actually, be a requirement to engage them for a scientific steering committees, etc. But rather, like actually, if you are planning for a large real world evidence study, you could always reach out to even community dermatologists to collect their inputs as well as data for the real world evidence studies. So this also creates like, it creates a feeling like they are also being equally engaged, and again, like, gain their confidence and trust over a period of time. And this would also be an opportunity for them to see where they stand from their peers, like how they practice, etc. Now coming to the payers, as I told in some of the previous uh, discussion about health technology assessments and all, they will see like actually, like more about how your product is better or has an edge value wise over the other products what's there available in the market. So you need to plan like actually, hosting pre-launch evidence dialogue with this group. Like you need to like actually, need to tailor health economic outcome research studies, and these things will help them like actually, again, to have meaningful dialogue between them. So they will also may support you, especially when they are taking this informed decision of which drug need to be included into the tender process and so on. So sometimes like engaging the nurses and pharmacists, I mean the even would be very important, considering their role in administrating these products. And we know, like some organizations may also engage patient counselors at the hospital level. So those people can get into, like heart to heart communication, like between these patients, etc., and can clarify a lot of doubts regarding, like administering the product, especially when these are, like parenteral preparations, etc. So they could build a lot of confidence as, like someone who is actually an intermediary between even the physician and patients. And coming to patient advocates, so these the patient advocacy groups, as well as even the patients, so they are at the core, or like the end users of this particular product. So you could always consider, like hosting some programs, clarifying their doubts, like some disease area awareness programs, etc., which will again, like boost their confidence. And many a times this single or, like the very fundamental engagements with this group can, like win us over competition many a times. Dr. Ronak, any additional points you want to share here?
Just from transaction creation. Uh, no, so I think I have some few points. So if it's not covered subsequently, I will add
Sure,
it. Yeah, but
sure.
we can go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So now, the one of the most pinching aspect in any engagements within an organization would be having, like uniformity in opinion, like to act as a team. Many a times people work in silos. We always believe, maybe, like our department may need to have an edge over others. So that many times, that like that instead of being, like complementary to each other, we get into this competitive spirit. And even to an extent, like even some activities are being planned, and as discussed this in this case, even the sales, marketing, everyone are, like planning their own initiatives, but are not uh, well discussed. So we need to remember the analogy of a car here. Like we know that for a car to run, or like you need to drive a car, you need all the four wheels functioning equally, right? If one of the tire is punctured, like it won't be that smooth. So the same applies here. Like in order to drive any project successfully, you need to have some kind of consensus or agreement. So an easy and effective way would be, like to have a cross functional governance council, where you could have representatives from various departments. This ensures alignment, and again, this will also be an opportunity to provide updates periodically. So we all get to know, like what's happening across the other department. So we could also, if something is not so well aligned,
It is
that would be
better.
an opportunity to clarify. So that's what actually this would be a very important, like actually you know case, especially to have a cross-functional alignment team. When you have a project, especially like what we discussed to drive. Now again, these days, like you have number of, like CRM tools, you have number of platforms where, like suppose, say, I will give you a simple example. Like as representatives of medical affairs, you had conducted an advisory board with a selected group of doctors, okay, right? And then like based on the internal legal and compliance aspects, a commercial team member may not be allowed inside to such advisory board. So like there could be, like many common platforms where you have an opportunity to upload, like the summary of these learnings, so that even the other members are aligned and informed on these strategies. The same applies. It could be, like vice versa as well. Now, uh, I would also uh, mention something very important here, like how will you measure success with this? So, of course, we need to have key performance indicators. We can't just have something like, just how many number of advisory boards you conducted, how many numbers of speaker programs you conducted. They are just like, uh, just quantitative in nature, but and often may not be like actually anywhere near to reality, like on the importance or prominence of the events what you have conducted. So you need like I mean little more in detail, like how your engagements has translated into success, like if such engagements have been there, so what were the engagements you have conducted, so that has led into a change in the practice, like the doctor like who was been using only uh, like actually the steroids suddenly switched over to your medication. So he has been conducting like actually extensive programs further, like actually as a teach back to a larger audience, etc. So I mean the level of influence what is actually being created, etc., could be important markers when you are talking about measuring success. So as if we could incorporate these elements into a project plan which you had prepared, which, see, I am not going to discuss all of your projects, but I believe like you would have got a brief idea like what all elements were so important considering these project plans. But otherwise I really appreciate and thank each one of you. I mean there were quite good learnings from many of your submissions. So great going, guys. Uh, Here I will just like hand it over to Dr. Ronak if you have to add like a few guidance like actually from you to the team.
Uh, Thanks, Dr. Hassan, for um, giving the very detailed and important and practical insights. So I think we can invite comments from the participants once again. Yeah.
I think the team is unusually silent today.
Yeah, unusual. That's a good word. Yeah. Usually they're very active. Maybe if they are from Gujarat, they must be preparing for Garba tonight. They must be getting ready. Otherwise, I don't know. Or I think the Durga Puja is also going on. Um, Mhm.
Yeah,
So I think wherever, once again, to important thing is to some of the people, as Dr. Hassan told, really most of you have done very nice preparations in submission. Uh, few went beyond, I think, usual thing also. Some of the participants, I think, went to budgeting also, like how much budget would be required, and also that's a great budget and resources. So that was very good. I think a few things, prevalence and all, I think would not see. So when you approach this kind of problem and when you're appearing for interview, I think many of them missed on prevalence of disease and incidents or something like that. And I think one thing was missing, Dr. Hassan, is that about not maybe exactly during the launch, uh, but maybe down the line, 6 to 12 months of launch, they could think about six train the trainer kind of thing, like those who are not using biologics, how to train them, how to give them confidence. You briefly covered about it. So how to prepare, how to identify the doctors who want to give this biologic and they don't have confidence. So something certification course for them or something like that, because basically they don't know actually right dosing and even how to handle these things, or in case of severe events what it can happen. And also integrating all the healthcare professions, like, so apart from medical science thing, and also Dr. Hassan has mentioned that it was a novel mechanism of action. So even though there are a lot many companies, but novelty, we need to uh, be proud about that as a launch, and how to differentiate that part also was not covered in few of the things. So even though we are telling that it is a common market and there are a lot many science companies that are involved, but again we need to give highlight our part innovatively. Other thing I wanted to come, Dr. Hassan briefly covered. So think from each perspective. Nurses again uh, are in bothered about how easily they can administer the drug, how to, if they are clear about, uh, so practically they will be involved in multiple things. So there are many courses on nurse education also. Course means like even you do CME in the big hospital, they'll be quite happy, like how it presents the drug is supplied and how it's a packaging, how to open it, and pros and cons, and some videos if you can develop. Same thing like pharmacy manager, or distribution system. If you have, if your company has good uh, distribution channels, so you can identify that trend from even KOL or pharmacies, or the KBL from the institution. Like the company XYZ may have wonderful drug, but the distribution channel is not good, or something like is that. So in case of biologics, it's really become very, very much important. So this two, three things I had noticed while I was going through some of the things. But overall, it was very, very good and detailed summary by few of the participants, and many have done uh, good work. And Dr. Hassan brief nicely explained the approach, what should be our approach. So thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. See, if you don't have any further queries, because anyway, like we have halfway through our time, so I will quickly present actually, I mean, the second part of the session. That's like insights. So at least like here I would request you to open up your mics, like actually whenever being called. Like again, I want to share my screen because this is a very important topic, and this is where like many a times like medical affairs professionals really fail. Okay, so I have a question here, like how many faces you see quickly, only 10 seconds. Can someone unmute and say,
Three
please?
faces.
Yeah, so someone has mentioned three. Any
Five
other?
faces.
Five faces. Okay, any other answers? Okay, so now, like in the interest of time, see, like it's very subjective. Like when we observe something, someone had told three, so maybe he or she would have like actually identified, say, one this face as whole. Then there's a lady, there is an old man standing, etc. Then the person who might have identified five could have also seen like one face. I mean, near to the arc, and there is like actually one more face, I mean second face on the opposite side as well, right? Like if you closely observe, and then if you see there are more number of faces, if you see here like below where that bird is there, like here also there is a face. So it's so our answers or like our observation changes from time to time. The more you look in detail, like you are going to find more number of faces. Maybe the lady holding a baby, so even that can be counted as one. So that's what I'm saying, like mm, the more you go in depth, yeah, maybe your outlook, your answers, everything may change your when you have a deep understanding. Same is the case with what we perceive. A number what is being actually depicted here can be either 6 or 9, and on the right hand side what you see, it can be both good and evil as well. So that's why actually it's very important for us, like as a people like who are so interested about medical affairs, to focus more and more to dig deeper. That's in this context actually having good insights into the organization, like actually becomes very important topic for all of us. So then exactly I have this question to all of you: what is actually insight? See, since I'm sharing the screen in full screen mode, I can't see you, so that's why if someone can voluntarily like actually unmute and try anything like what you think as insight. See, I already told my inability to see and call out names. So I please request like volunteers here because then only like we can clearly I can also ensure like you people are like grabbing what I'm trying to say. Who is
So
speaking?
Manish has replied deep learning.
Yeah. Okay.
Is Evil Good 696. Evil. mm,
No, I'm asking like when it comes to the word insight.
yeah,
So
inside
someone
meaning.
has
Yeah.
replied like what you understand. Someone has told deep understanding or deep learning. Any other things?
So what I think insight means is if that opinion or feedback is acted upon, it can bring a better change in the outcome.
Okay. So you are saying like anything, any opinion or information which brings meaningful change, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. May I know your name, please?
Sir, Dr. Shelly Bhatt.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yes, for me, it's also the same, like regarding the perspective or the perception, what we think, and how we are able to give that perception in a positive way or an outcome to the others. So
Okay.
that kind of insight.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll try to explain it more in detail. So let's proceed into the subsequent slides. So to give you some quick example here, like I'm using like some unorganized data here, like how it can be like shifted into an insight. So the picture tells all of it. For example, when you have something like unorganized data, it becomes extremely challenging. So maybe others can please be main muted. Please be on mute. Yeah, thank you. So, an unsorted or uncollated information may not be that useful to us. Like, suppose say you go and meet a doctor, so he is giving you some input, but the second person is also trying to give you some input. Okay, so you met 100 doctors, like actually trying to gather some inputs, and most of the time it was like actually you were meeting with those experts would have been just spontaneous. It wouldn't have been that well planned. So when you ask some inputs, it could have been like someone would have gave you like a very brief detail, someone would have explained it in detail, etc. But then you will try of course like to sort and try to understand what makes sense out of it. Okay, when if you can find out some pattern from that, then you will like always try to project it back to the organization. Okay, this can have some meaningful ideations, like especially, and this could be useful for us to strategize further, etc. So that's actually the concept of like having proper insights. So if you see the definition, we say, especially from a medical background, like a medical insight is an understanding or a discovery gathered from relevant medical sources, which allows us to make informed decisions and confirm or adapt our strategies for the benefit of the larger patient pool. So, contextualized information that is meaningful to the therapy area and the business, that you can briefly say as like actually insights. Now, and the true insights, as I mentioned earlier, goes deeper. So an initial response give you rational and obvious reasons. You need to ask more questions to uncover deep. So it's like a iceberg story. So what you would have initially noticed or initially observed would be just like actually an observed or stated behavior, something like of a very negligible uh, information of a negligible importance, I would say. Like the more you ask, then you get more standard rational answers. Then if you further go deep dive with these like stakeholders, then you will try to understand, okay, why they believe so, so why they think like this is important, what's the real background reason, like what makes their beliefs and attitudes, etc. So it also you can say like, so can be like information, rational insights, emotional insights, etc. So this emotional insights, if you can grab, there is nothing like that, because that can really change. Say mm, if you remember, like I had earlier told you mm, about the story of engaging a very difficult medical expert who is like an introvert, who was agreeing to whatever I was trying to say. So in the initial part, like if you remember, like I tried multiple ways to engage, but he was not actually, uh, I couldn't actually, connect with this particular medical expert. But one simple question, like trying to understand like what it really interests him, change the whole scenario. So it's actually as simple as that. And again, while doing this, ideally you need to have, when you are going to a doctor, you should have a scientific approach. Like it's not like actually you just go ask some random questions. It's better like if you are in a team, to create key intelligent topics, like in which areas you need to collect insights, as well as also you need to frame key intelligent questions. So we call this by acronym key intelligent topics and questions by kicks and kits, like KIQs and KITs. So that means actually key intelligent topics and questions. So if you can frame such things, then you can make it this insight collection process like more scientific in nature. If you are framing a set of topics, and in that like topics, like what could be the important questions, and if you try to collect systematically, then of course you will be able to validate it better than like having some spontaneous or random questions. So insight collection is really challenging, even for very experienced people, like who may have like sometimes more than 8 to 10 years. Collecting proper insights many a times become a Herculean task, because why it is challenging, because it includes like not understanding what is and is not an insight. Again, lack of training on insight recognition, overemphasizing quantity over quality, because many a times organizations stress like okay, you need to bring these many insights on current unmet needs from certain doctors. So when like certain such targets are there, like people try to overemphasize on quantity or quality. And again, insights that don't uncover the why. So these are all the challenges what we have. Now you can also like to have more meaningful, you can create checklist. So is it more than just information? Does it go beyond a fact or observation to help answer the why of our customer statement or behavior? If this is a no, then it's not an insight. So if it is a yes, okay, then you can still think of like, is it relevant? Does it relate to my disease area, my products, my competitors? If it's no, it's not an insight. If it's an yes, of a okay, is this an actionable item? Does it help to identify an action that my team like actually can unlock an opportunity out of it? So that's how you need to think, like especially when like actually trying to get any detailed information which are actionable from your stakeholders. Now I had defined medical insights earlier, but insights confirm or adapt our strategies by addressing three needs. that is like actually insights fill knowledge gaps. For that actually I would say like actually I know that I don't know. So I mean, especially it is very much applicable when you are going into a new therapy area. Now the second aspect would be insights check assumptions. See, many a times we try to think, or we try to postulate things. So I would say like I think I know, but I'm not sure. So in those situations as well, insights would be very critical. Then like insights identify blind spots. So I'm not even aware that I don't know. So this is a very precarious situation. So in these aspects, we insights having insights would help us to get the right facts and make meaningful strategic decisions. So when you try to gather insights, always think of these three questions: what, so what, and now what. So what is about like the present context. So what is like the why. So why is it so, like why is he thinking, uh, why this particular person believes that way. So for this you need more of a you need to improve your listening skills. That's very very critical. Many a times we cut short the conversation even our stakeholders are making. We try to like actually because we are in a hurry like to get uh, so if you are going with a checklist, sorry, so if you are going with a checklist, you are rather than trying to get detailed information, you are in a hurry to ask those 10 questions, because the doctor has given you a stipulated amount of time only. And we won't listen even like what he has to say, because we assume like whatever the particular point he's trying to make, it's not so important. So this is certainly one aspect like where we try or we fail like on this collecting insights. So active listening is very important. The Even though you had gone there with a set of prepared key intelligent questions, and your discussions mostly would be open ended, so that could have led to so many other things. Especially when talking about competitive informations, etc., you should utilize your detective skills. Now you have got what you want. Now you need to think about like now what. So what are the suggested actions? Accordingly you will ask more subsequent questions. So just to give you an example, the HCP likes the phase 3 data of my drug. So the insight is like the HCP think the phase 3 data shows improvement in the standard of care. May be good HCP to refer to some speaker programs. So there's a that's where the magic starts. Like when implications are included, then when you are recommending like this back to the organization, obviously like there is an actionable item there. So just to differentiate between information versus insight. So, for example, information is like customer feedback data indicates that 30% of users find a mobile app difficult to navigate. See, this is quite common. Like when you are being asked, like actually to understand a problem, we say like, okay, though our marketing team rolled out one application, not many are using it. We even just would have like stopped there, and we wouldn't have even explored further. But if you see, that's just an information. But you could make it insightful. How? Like so if you see the sentence, identifying that the difficulty is primarily due to complex menu structure leading to, so that's actually the problem. So then you have the actionable item. So if you can redefine the app's interface to improve the user experience, then you can take this like 30 from 30% users, it could go up to 80% as well. So that's how uh, designing like how you change information into insight matters a lot. Another one here, like monthly sales report showing a 15% increase in sales of a particular product. So analyzing the data to discover that the increase is due to successful marketing campaign targeting a specific demographic, leading to the decision to replicate this campaign. this to for the other products as well. So here another example. So this is an example which is related to sickle cell disease. So the data collected from patients with sickle cell disease transitioning from pediatric to adult care shows high rates of complications and hospital readmissions. If you see the insight, identifying that lack of structured transition programs is a major contributor to these complications. So this led to the development of specialized transition programs that provide continuous care and support, significantly reducing hospital readmissions and improving patient outcomes. See, this is actually a real challenge. For example, so this is what even like actually, in my work I observed, and the patient, especially the pediatric, the adolescent patients, the doctors whom are like actually, they approach for treatment are very well versed with the disease. So and by years, they would have developed a very strong emotional pattern. But suddenly, when they are maybe say for example, um, 14 15 years and above, they would be transitioned into the adult I mean, like actually, they would be transitioned to internal medicine department or the general medicine department. So they would be no more meeting the doctor whom they were meeting for years. So and the new person may not actually have a better understanding. So there's a clear requirement of having structured transition programs. But how this will be identified? So as a medical science liaison, as a regional medical advisor, you need to give that right insight back to the organization. Then they can strategize and suggest and create programs accordingly. So that's what I wanted to say. Now, recording inside statements using common format makes them very easy to interpret and analyze. So that's why I told remember I told you about KIQs and KITs. But few things will help you always, even in any of your routine work. So sentence on the context should be there. Then again, there should be one or two sentences on actual insight. Then there should be a sentence on strategic relevance or how it can be acted on. So to give you an example, cardiology met a large secondary care facility have many patients with BMI over 35 who cannot have life-saving heart transplant because of their increased BMI. Now, the actual insight is that there is no existing weight management program, and cardiologists rarely discuss weight challenges as they feel they have a lack of skill when talking to patients about weight due to fear of offending them. And again, so what you should do, so we have this I mean the background as well as the insight. So as an actionable item, if you see the next sentence, suggest working with lead cardiologists to co-create educational programs for cardiologists to support more patients to get access to weight management interventions. So then that will actually solve the problem, of them getting the right treatment. So if you can unmute, I have a very quick question. I just want to say is from the previous slide, you would have seen, there should have been a context in a more detailed information strategy, etc. So from those aspect, do you consider this sentence is an insight or an information? What do you think? My organization seemed to have best treatment for patients living with rare blood disorders. Can anyone say what is this? It's an information or an insight? Please unmute.
Information.
Yeah, correct.
In-
So it's just an information. Now, what about this? It's hard to get my patients to take their disease seriously. They know it has an implication in the long term, but they attribute them to fate and are not aware of the genetic component. So, what do you think about it? What?
Insight.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
inside information.
And that's an insight because like that has like a more deep understanding about the situation and scenario. I know patients don't like to participate in clinical trials. What is it?
Information.
Yeah. And the last one here, I am aware that many pharmaceuticals are running clinical trials on sickle cell disease, and I would like to participate in all as this is our main source of funding. I'm currently the investigator in two protocols, and I am a high recruiter for one of them as I know the molecule better. What about
In
this?
information.
Why you think it as an
So it's
information?
the insights because it's talking about in a detail and
Yeah.
so giving the
So
inside information. Yeah.
I still would categorize it as an insight because actually, it is also giving some detailed idea about why he actually, is considering himself an high recruiter because he know the molecule better. So that's like actually, the end of this session. Like if you have any queries, you can ask. Say this is not included into your agenda, just because I felt like actually, this is a very important topic to be covered because that's where even like actually, experienced medical affairs professionals find it really tough. So hence I considered including this brief session for you as a additional one than what is actually mentioned in your uh, program schedule. Hope it might be useful to at least some of you who have started their career. Just Dr. Ronak, you want to add some points here?
No, insight is very much useful for differentiating once you are uh, in your career. So it will make you stand apart from your other colleagues. So and it's applicable everywhere. So not only in this medical field, but wherever we are in our routine also, it will be very useful. So yeah, I think you covered good example also. So uh, that's good. Yeah.
Anyone else have any queries? If not, like actually, we can connect next week. Yeah. Okay. Bye bye. Take care.
Thank you, Dr. Asad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you, doctor.
Thanks, Ronak, for being here. Like, yeah. Bye bye.
Pleasure. Bye. Bye.